Welcome back to Cox Connections. TEDx Herndon will be happening on Saturday, March 14th at the Industrial Strength Theater in Herndon. Joining us today to tell us all about it is the director of TEDx Herndon, Joe Plummer. Welcome, Joe. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So tell us, what is TEDx Herndon?
So TEDx Herndon is an independently organized TED event happening for the first time in Herndon. It came out of a conversation with the mayor of Herndon, Mayor Lisa Merkel, who's a very enthusiastic and supportive mayor. And the event is happening, as you said, on March 14th at the Industrial Strength Theater, and we're very excited about it.
Great. And you mentioned that the event came out of a conversation with the mayor in Herndon, but tell us a little bit more about kind of how the event came to be and how you kind of got to be or calling it a TEDx event.
Yeah, so Mayor Merkel and I had a conversation about various things going on in the community, and we just kind of stumbled upon this idea of what if we did a TEDx event. And we didn't really know what that meant and what it took to do that. But so we started looking into it, and TED, which is a nonprofit organization, awards licenses to individuals to organize these community-centered events. So after 3 to 6 months of back and forth with the TED organization and submitting the application and making sure that what we were doing was in line with their vision, they awarded us a license, and we were able to move forward with organizing the event.
Yeah, sounds like a big commitment to get it off the ground.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting process, but TED makes it pretty straightforward to get through and really align with what they're trying to do.
Excellent. So tell us again, when and where is the event, and how do people, if they want to attend, do they need tickets, or how do they do that?
Yes, so it is a ticketed event. Tickets are available on the theater website, which is nextstoptheater.org. The event again is March 14th at the Industrial Strength Theater, and this is happening 1 to 5 p.m. on that Saturday. Okay.
And who do you have speaking at the event? When people show up, what are they going to see?
We have a lot of great speakers, a wide range of topics, also a wide age range. We have everyone from a 19-year-old one-man band, Andrew Tufano, to Mrs. Loudoun County, Jennifer Wignall, to one of the most respected names in the solar industry, Scott Sklar. So a lot of variety, a lot of different topics. We also have 3 performers, 2 musicians and a dancer. So it's going to be a very interesting Saturday.
Yeah, and how did you decide on these 3 specific kind of performances or speakers?
So we actually have 16 speakers and performers. So
wow.
It's not just those 3. Those were just three examples of kind of the variety. But the speakers, finding these really creative people is a very interesting process. So you start by going to your most creative friend and asking them who's the most creative person you know. And you keep doing that, and eventually you find a pretty amazing group of people with pretty amazing ideas.
The top of the creativity ladder.
Right, yeah.
So is the TEDx event kind of a one-off event, or is it part of a kind of bigger vision that you have here for Northern Virginia? So
TEDx Herndon is happening for the first time this year, but there have been other TEDx events in Northern Virginia, including TEDx Ashburn, TEDx GMU. TEDx Arlington is happening for the first time this year as well. There have been conversations at a high level about kind of a broader vision for these TEDx events and other community events, trying to create a kind of culture of innovation and creativity around community and identity in Northern Virginia. So there are kind of broader visions for what the TEDx events in Northern Virginia could be. There's also been conversations about TEDx Reston. TED also licenses TEDx youth events, so TEDx events that are targeted at youth in the area. So there have been a lot of conversations about how do we use these TEDx events to really create a culture of creativity. Mm-hmm.
And so TEDx Herndon, your hope is this is not the only time you're hosting this.
Right, the hope is that this won't be a one-off event. This would be the first kind of effort to make these TEDx events kind of a broader initiative in the region.
Yeah, and you've been working hard at getting this event together for, I'm sure, a long time. Tell us a little bit about that and kind of your process for organizing the event.
Yeah, so TED actually has a lot of great resources and a great community around organizers. So there have been thousands of TEDx events across the country and all over the world. So it's much easier with the TED infrastructure to organize an event than it would be to just kind of dive in on your own. So there have been a lot of things like, where do you get a TEDx sign manufactured, or where do you go to find great speakers, or how do you recruit speakers? All these different questions that go into an event like this. Just being a part of the TED brand makes it a lot easier.
Yeah. And you mentioned, so 16 speakers, or speakers' performances in 4 hours,
right.
1 to 5 on the 14th. So how does that work? Is everybody that comes to the event able to see all 16?
Yes.
Or?
So it's not at all like a typical conference. When you go to a typical conference, there are multiple tracks. You kind of decide what you're interested in hearing there. TED events are more about spreading ideas and creating community around those ideas. So we're really trying to give all of the people that come to the event the same experience and the same exposure to these ideas, and hopefully these ideas will take root and create actions after the event.
Yeah, awesome. So if somebody wants to get involved with TEDx, how do they, with TEDx Herndon, or really with just any of these events, how do they do that?
So if they want to organize their own TEDx event, they can go to the TED website, and there's a section there on organizing your own TEDx event. So you can organize a TEDx youth event, you can organize a TEDx event in your own small community. You can also organize it within your business. They've created these opportunities now where you can organize, say, a TEDx Cox Communications or something. So that's how you get involved kind of with the broader TEDx initiative. With TEDx Herndon, we've got information on our Facebook page about volunteering and coming the day of, and we're obviously trying to develop kind of a support system for these broader TEDx events in Northern Virginia.
Great. And tell us that website one more time that people can go to for information.
So the website for TEDx Herndon to get tickets is nextstoptheater.org, and then if you're interested in getting involved as a volunteer, you can go to our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/TEDx Herndon.
Great. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Joe.
Thank you for having me.
And thanks for joining me on this episode of Cox Connections. Before you go, I want to personally thank you for choosing Cox Communications for your entertainment, information, and communication needs. We know you could have chosen another provider, but because you chose us, we pledge to be a friend you can trust. We promise to provide you with quality products backed by a talented local team of professionals that will help you stretch your dollar. And from all of your friends and neighbors here at Cox, we thank you for joining us on this edition of Cox Connections.